The Gym Terps have returned to their shell. It's the home opener here in College Park, Maryland, between the Michigan State Spartans and the Maryland Terrapins. A Michigan State team coming off a huge win after a historic season against Michigan. Last time out, the Terrapins off to a strong start as they look to continue building as a program. Here in 2023, the Maryland Terrapins, the Michigan State Spartans at Xfinity Center. I'm Shane Connick alongside NCAA commentator Christina Chauvenet. Christina, you've been around gymnastics a long time. How strong is this Michigan State team?
You know, at the start of the season, I would have said that Michigan State is a sleeper pick to make nationals. Their program has been on such an upward trajectory. I think they're right on target. Upsetting Michigan was just that next step on their journey this season.
Today, it'll start off on bars. The Terps will start off on the vault here in this dual meet.
And you know, vault, really strong place for Maryland to start, their strongest event statistically. Michigan State has struggled in bars a couple meets ago, so that's going to be a really key event for them to get this meet off to a strong start.
So let's take a look at who we got competing today for Coach Nelligan's squad. Brett Nelligan has been at the helm of this program, took over for his father, Bob Nelligan. Has been very successful here.
Absolutely, and you know, the Terps, also a program on an upward trajectory. They made regionals last season for the first time in several seasons, got their highest ever regional score. Didn't quite make it to that next round, but Brett has got some great momentum. Very solid first few meets for Maryland.
So starting off here on the vault, who stands out to you in that rotation that Maryland has?
You know, the back three in this lineup, Silberman, Rothenbuscher, and Rubio, these are all athletes that can push into that high 9.8, even 9.9 range. The Silberman and Rothenbuscher have those 10.0 start values, going to be super important this meet.
I called it a rotation. I meant a lineup at first. So on that note, let's see the Spartans.
Yeah, and you know,
Mike Rowe.
For Michigan State, I think, as I mentioned, they did struggle against NC State a couple weeks ago on bars. Against Michigan, they really came back. They still had a fall in that leadoff spot last week. So, you know, that's going to be a really critical event. I think if they can get 6 really solid scores, they're going to be off to a great meet. Certainly coming in as the favorites in this meet.
Which of them, those gymnasts on this team, stand out to you on the uneven bars?
You know, as I mentioned, the Skylar Schulte had a fall last week in that open spot. She can be really beautiful here. Of course, you got to talk about Nikki Smith. She's really known for her floor work, but a wonderful bar worker as well, super powerful.
Nikki Smith, the Big Ten Gymnast of the Week and the Big Ten Freshman of the Week, off to a really strong start.
Yeah, one of those athletes that came in for Michigan State. You know, I think it was a 5-star recruit as rated by College Gym News, and everybody expected her to have a great freshman campaign, and boy, is she hitting, if not exceeding, those expectations. And just seeing the athletes in their warm-up period here, if you're new to college gymnastics, just a little reminder of the scoring. We've got 6 up, 5 count. That means the lowest score from each team will be dropped to make up that team total. We'll also have athletes competing in exhibition. Those exhibition spots, which we'll point out, they do not count towards the team total. They're an opportunity for those teammates that are pushing into the lineup to just get their routines out there and get them scored.
And how much do you think that adds for these teams, especially early in the season, to be able to see even the gymnasts who aren't the ones in their lineups getting reps in a meet like this?
Oh, I think it's hugely important, and it's something that both teams are going to be taking advantage of this afternoon. And I talked a little bit with Brett Nelligan about that, and he said, you know, you never know what's going to happen in a season. You may want to rest somebody. You know, hopefully you don't have any injuries, but we all know that's part of sport. So it's good to have those athletes out there getting that experience and also see how these routines are scoring. And you know, as we are looking in this, the vault and bars, the events they're going to start on, for vault, the start values are set because there's only one skill, it's the vault. So a lot of the start values we're going to see today are from a 9.95. Some of the vaults we'll see are starting from a 10.0. On the other 3 events, what you're going to see is there's a set of basic requirements that the athletes have to fulfill on each event. If they fulfill those basic requirements, which every gymnast does, barring a mishap, that routine will start from a 9.4. The athletes then have to build their difficulty to that 10.0, and there's two ways to do that. One is by doing more difficult skills than are required, those D and E elements, and then the other way is to do elements in combination. So we'll point that out throughout the meet. If you really want to get into the code, you're a gym nerd, and you want to catch up on that, really would recommend the balance beam situation. They have a great breakdown of those requirements.
So just under probably about a minute or two or so till we get going here in College Park, but a solid crowd on hand here, I've got to say, here at the Xfinity Center. Fans excited, the team back, like I said, for the home opener this year.
Exactly, and I think Big Ten gymnastics is really on the rise. So many of these teams in qualifying position for the postseason. Remember, 36 teams qualify for postseason. Maryland coming in at 27 right now, so certainly right now positioned, a lot of season left, but right now in that qualifying position. So we're in the golden age of college gymnastics. We've got so many Olympians. We've got Sunisa Lee, we've got Jake Carey, we've got Jordan Child competing. It's really elevated the national audience for gymnastics, and I absolutely love it.
And we were talking earlier about the Big Ten. Obviously, we talked about Michigan State. We talked about Michigan, talking about the Terps, but it's becoming just a loaded conference all around.
Absolutely, and remember, UCLA is joining next season as well.
And even Ohio State this year having a good year. It's becoming a real strong conference and just about ready to get things going here on the vault. For the Terrapins, it'll be Taylor Reck getting us going.
Wow, Yurchenko full gets them started with a stick. Some body shape in the air. We want to see those athletes keep their body completely laid out, but really strong start.
Take another look here.
Yeah, nice vault.
Taylor Reck, the freshman from Milton, Georgia.
And we are underway on bars here.
Nia Smith starting for Michigan State.
And actually, I think that's Skylar Schulte. Yes.
I was looking at vault, the bars.
Yes. And, again, as I mentioned, she struggled the previous week on bars, had a really nice performance there. It caught the end of that double layout. Really good job. So that's a huge momentum builder for Michigan State.
So going back to the Terps on the vault, it'll be Reese McClure up next.
And taking a look at this double layout, nice stretched body in the air on that double layout.
So that'll bring up Reese McClure on the vault.
Another one of those athletes performing the full twisting Yurchenko. Remember, those full twisting Yurchenkos are valued out of a 9.95. It's a maximum score you can get if you perform it perfectly. And Reese has got a 9.9 as her career high here.
4-year senior on this Terrapins program.
Local product out of Frederick, Maryland. Both these teams actually have a lot of in-state athletes on their roster.
Something Coach Nelligan's really tried to do to keep the top in-state talent here.
And really nice vault. Didn't get the stick that we saw from Taylor Reck, but I thought nice body, better body position in the air.
Is able to stick the landing.
And yeah, maybe just a little pike down at the end there, but nice job.
And back to the bars. It's Gabby Stephen up second for the Spartans.
And get started with that Maloney. Nicely done there. Strong. Oh, wow. Really used her core to hang on to that handstand. Little leg separation on that bail to handstand. And again, sorry, I know I will sound like a broken record. Little shy on that last handstand. But boy, she can take that full twisting double back into the rafters. So powerful.
So Josephine Kogler is going to be up next, but take another look here at the balls.
And yeah, you could see just in that bail to handstand where I mentioned her legs came apart, that should be about a half a 10. And another really nice Yurchenko full. You know, talked about that landing. Of course, the landing is important, but we also want to see those dynamics, the height, the distance. Let's take a look at the block she gets off the table. Twisted a little early off the table, I see in replay, and a little pike down. If she'd kept her hips laid out, I bet she could have stuck that.
So back to the bars we go, where Jory Jackard, the senior from Haslet, Michigan,
and she's really lovely to watch on this event as well. We're gonna look out for the straddle Jaeger at the top of her routine. Look at this toe point. Ugh, gorgeous. Straddle Jaeger, really nice. And maybe just a little shy on that handstand position, but working through it nicely. Rock solid handstand on top of that bar. Full turn into that double back. Really nice job there. Michigan State is rolling.
Spartans fired up over there after the third performance in the lineup. And now Emma Silberman will take her turn at the vault.
And this is a really cool vault, different entry style. Check this out. She does that full twist onto the horse, pike off. She upgraded that vault over the summer. The tuck version was devalued. Brett Nelligan said she was sad for about a half second and then just got right in there, said she had such a great attitude, was like, no problem, I can upgrade this vault. Didn't quite get the turnaround on the table. You should see them complete that turn onto the table, but nice pike position off the table.
Also seemed to land so easily.
Yeah.
Looked effortless.
Exactly. The challenge with that vault is they don't get the height that a Yurchenko full twist does, and I think that the judges take more deductions off of that full on than they should, but that's a conversation for another day.
So back we go. It's Olivia Sarmani. Zarmani, a freshman from Statesville, North Carolina. This Michigan State team is 2-1 with a loss to Alabama in its season opener, another top 10 gymnastics team.
And you know, remember, for the score is really what's driving that postseason qualification.
And they scored a higher one than number 3 Michigan the last time out.
Pretty packed salto there. Again, just a little leg separation. Oh gosh, I just absolutely love that in-bar Ginger. So difficult. Yeah, again, they are really working through these routines nicely. Had a couple of form breaks there here and there throughout that routine, but really nice overall. And here's that in-bar Ginger that I was talking about. She keeps nice form throughout that. And definitely has more difficulty in that routine than she needs to start from a 10.0. Love to see that.
So that will bring us here to Alexa Rothenbuscher.
And check this out, another different entry, that Souk full. And just a hop there, that is such a difficult vault. That's one of those vaults that starts out of a 10.0. She's one of 2 gymnasts currently competing that in the NCAA. Linda Zivat is the other one at Iowa, also in Big Ten gymnastics. Let's take a look here. Some leg separation off the table. Just needs to keep her hip angle a bit more extended, but I love to see her going for that difficult vault.
So that will bring up the star freshman, Nikki Smith.
And if you haven't seen Nikki Smith's gymnastics, get ready, because she's such a powerhouse, and you know, you often don't think of that as sort of a characteristic of a bar worker, but I love a good, powerful bar worker, and she definitely is one of those.
9.875, her season high thus far. Setting the bar pretty high to start it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Only 3 meets in.
Oh, and had a little extra energy on that first handstand, but hung on to it. Pretty packed salto. Rocks out that last handstand. And doesn't get the stick on that double layout, but again, you know, this is not Michigan State's strongest event. For them, I think they're going to be really happy with how they are getting through these routines. You know, we're going to see them on their power events later, vault and floor, super high scoring potential there. And such a big vault there for Alexis Rubio. You know, she's capable of having a better landing. Let's take a look on replay here. Yeah, she gets such good height. I think she just opened up a little early. Yeah, I think she was just going for the stick, opened up a little early out of it, had to take that hop forward.
Already the 6th in the lineup for the Terrapins right there, so they'll have an exhibition coming up with Samantha Gilbert back on the bars. Delaney Harkness will round it out for the Spartans.
And, you know, huge career high here for her of 9.95. She's just absolutely beautiful to watch on this event. Another one of those athletes doing the Ginger release move. Micro told me the attention they've been paying to these handstands, and it is paying off. Lovely Ginger there. I mean, bail to handstand. Really rocked that out. Gearing up for the dismount here. Yeah, Michigan State's going to be really happy with how they started on bars.
So that will bring us to the exhibition where Samantha Gilbert for the Terrapins.
Does that half, nice landing. That's a tricky vault to land. Did have some knee bend in the air, so that'll be a deduction, but good for them to be getting out that vault and testing it out in the arena. So we'll take another look at it here. Starts from a 9.95, same as the full. Yeah, and you can see off the table, has that knee bend. We really want to see those athletes, when the position is laid out, we want to see the athletes, you know, have that straight line.
Sage Kellerman now for the Spartans will take her turn in an exhibition round, the freshman from Crosswell, Michigan.
Nice straddle Jaeger there to her transition to low. Little shy on that last handstand. One of those athletes doing the full pirouette into the double back. Nice landing there. Was a little crooked in that full turn into her double back, but really managed to finesse that double back.
Take another look at that one.
And this is one of the ways that you can fulfill the dismount requirement. You can do this full turn. And she was just a little bit crooked on that. Didn't know if she was going to be able to get around, but she rocked that dismount. And the team is stoked about that one.
So that takes us through that first rotation. We have our scores now from the Terps on the vault. Reese McClure, Emma Silberman, Alexis Rubio. All three of them earn a 9.825. Taylor Reck, a 9.8. Josephine Kogler, a 9.75. And Alexa Rothenbuscher, 9.725. The Terrapins have 49.025 at the end of one rotation. The Spartans lead by .225. Delaney Harkness getting a 9.9. Jory Jackard a 9.875. Skyla Schulte 9.85. Olivia Zarmani 9.825. And then Gabrielle Stephen and Nikki Smith each record a 9.8. Like we just said for the Terrapins, you see that visualized right there, 49.025.
Yeah, and solid start for Maryland. They didn't get the sticks that I think they're going to want to moving into that later part of the season. For the most part, I saw really nice body positions in the air, some little form to clean up.
And as for the Spartans, if you're at Michigan State, you're Mike Rowe right now, how are you feeling about that start?
Oh, feeling great. You saw Delaney Harkness. I mean, that was, I think, appropriately ranked. It was the most beautiful routine in that really nice bar lineup. But, they've got their toughest one out of the way. They're moving to a huge event for them, which is vault. They set their program record last week, so they're going to be feeling good heading to vault.
Do you think that these teams have certain ones they prefer to start with, or certain ones, obviously, you like to finish on the floor, be at home,
sure,
but starting off on the bars, how do you think that is?
It really depends on the team. As I said, because Michigan State has struggled on bars a couple of weeks ago, that's kind of that's statistically their weakest event. Of course, they have great bar workers. So when it's an embarrassment of riches at Michigan State. So to say that it's, they still rocked a 49.25, they have higher scoring ceilings on the other events. So probably for them, it might have been a little bit nerve-wracking to start on, but now they've gotten that one out of the way. That's probably feeling really good for them. Folks really, in quad meets, people really don't like to start on beam. A little nervy event to start on, and that's where Michigan State's going to have to finish. But they're really strong there. So
on the vault, one of the Spartans' better events, going up second here in College Park. Who are you excited to see from the Spartans?
I'm really excited. This entire lineup, top to bottom, is just really stacked. They are so powerful on vault, but of course Nikki Smith has that Yurchenko 1.5. And now we're, taking a look at this gorgeous bar work.
Hello, my name is Sophia Blake, and my celebrity crush is
just a little bit of leg separation on the start of that dismount and that hop back, but really pretty work overall from Delaney Harkness.
So for Maryland, Rhea LeBlanc going to get things going on the bars.
Yeah, and this is a strong event for Maryland. I think when at Nebraska they had a really solid bar rotation. What we're going to be looking for them, they lost a couple tenths on handstands. You heard me mention that in Michigan State rotation. Huge theme in bars. Every time you're short of that handstand, the judges should be going pen to paper. And so that was an area I think that they lost a little bit of. They've got some great releases that we're going to look forward to on bars.
So taking a look at who the Spartans will have on the vault. Obviously, like we said, one of the Spartans' stronger events.
Absolutely, and they have a couple of 10-0 vaults in their lineup. I talked to Coach Mike Rowe about what upgrades were coming. He said a lot of them are training them. They're not necessarily ready yet, but the exciting thing is they do have one athlete, Lauren Shu, who is training the Yurchenko 1.5. We're not going to see her tonight, or this afternoon rather, but that is something that they may put in later in the lineup. Later in the year, rather.
Be interesting to see how the Spartans end up adjusting, as even as good as their lineup is now, they can bolster even more.
Exactly.
It's still only the fourth meet.
And Sage Kellerman, another athlete we're going to look for here, she does that difficult front pike with a half. That's one of those 10.0 start values. She stuck it last week. So that's got that, got a 9.9 last week. Certainly capable of pushing into that range if she can get the stick. Really lovely technique.
Nia Smith, the senior, will start things off.
And Nia, of course, Nikki's older sister, and I don't know what they were feeding them for breakfast as kids, but whatever it was, it worked, because they are powerful athletes. Huge power in those two gymnasts. And, talking to Coach Mike Rowe, said obviously Nia being the senior, that was the one that was recruited first. Nikki just really fell in love with the program, and so kind of felt really natural after that. Very close. The two sisters are very close, both from Michigan. So he kind of said, at the beginning, I was just recruiting Nia, and then there's like her little sister, and turns out she turned out to be a pretty good recruit too. So, just one of those. Both of them have such power, so we're going to see that on vault.
So the Terrapins are going to be heading to the bars this time, and it's an event. How would you say the Terrapins are going to look here? Not just, general how they're going to look, but how strong are they in this event?
I think that they've had a very consistent start to the season. So they've had two scores in a row, overall team scores of 195. They've been hitting. They haven't had to count falls. What they need to focus on is picking up some of those half tens on dismounts and on handstands. I think their single bar release work looks really good. So that's something that we're going to look for them. And, Michigan State, when I talked to Coach Mike Rowe, that one of the things he told me was, we are really, again, I think a lot of teams are getting in this space where they're like, we need to be picking up those half tens. Now we're getting into midseason. You don't just want to go out and hit the routines. You need to be sticking landings, really getting into those high scoring potentials, because especially for Michigan State, they are trying to make it to nationals this year. They were the first team out, so tricky for them. They had the highest score of the teams that did not qualify to nationals, set a program record in that regional. So I think that he said that was really hard for the team, but also gave them some energy coming into this season. They got something to prove.
That season ago was the best year in program history for the Spartans, and like you're saying, they are only looking for more, and they've only looked better this year, knocking off Michigan, a number 3 ranked team in the country, its in-state rival a week ago. And here we go.
And gets started, hangs on to that stick. I'd have to see that on replay. Nice body position. Let's take another look here. Some leg separation coming off the table, but the judges probably won't catch that. Yeah, just hangs on her toes. Little chest position down on landing. Would like to see it more upright, but strong start.
So going to the bars, it will be Rhea LeBlanc starting for the Terrapins.
And here's this single bar release right off the top. Piked Jaeger, which is rated more difficult than the straddle Jaeger. Piked Jaeger is an E, as opposed to the straddle Jaeger, which is a D. Working well through this routine. Hop back on that dismount. Some teeny tiny form things, including on that piked Jaeger, but solid start for Maryland. And just some shape issues in that double layout. When I say shape issues, what I mean is when the athlete is doing a laid out element, you want to see that hip angle completely open.
So Skylar Schulte here on the vault.
And gosh, is she powerful. Sticks the crap out of that full twist in Yurchenko.
Those Spartans were fired up right after that one.
And Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year. Together, legs together off the table. Again, just hanging on. I have to say, they are fighting for these sticks because they're not the most secure sticks, but I like the fight that they're showing. So remember, vault, height, distance, body position in the air, and landing. So while that landing is important, it is not the only thing that the judges are evaluating. I will say I do find the judges evaluating the landing more so than some of those other elements, and really they should be taking deductions for all of those different aspects. But yeah, Michigan State's so powerful on vault.
So it'll be Victoria Gatzendorfer, the standout sophomore from Marvin, North Carolina, up on the bars.
And she's a really lovely bar worker. going to see this release combination. Maloney, little leg separation there. Oh, and leg separation in the pack salto as well. The judges are sitting to the side, so they sometimes don't catch that, but here's that Stalter work into the double back. And that's what we call a college stick. Kind of didn't quite have that, didn't have the stick, but tried to kind of sell it. Yeah, there's the leg separation on that pack salto. The judges should be able to see that. And again, I think she was a little shy on that half turn. We want to see the athlete land right in handstand.
Olivia Zarmani, I believe, was up on the vault for Michigan State.
And just came in short on that Yurchenko full there. Didn't quite get the block off the table that some of her teammates did. And you know, when we talk about the block, that rise off the table, that really sets the athlete up for success in the rest of the vault. So you want to see them rise. The moniker is flip, then twist. And so didn't quite get that block up to get that twist around in time. You can see Brett Nelligan here giving a little pep talk. Brett's such a technician, and actually he gave an interview on the Shift Movement Science podcast. Would really recommend that for folks that are interested in sort of training techniques.
Yeah. Brett Nelligan definitely. And what do you notice about his in-game meet coaching in particular?
Yeah, you know, he's a competitive coach. He definitely wants to win. Really nice opening release move there. And really nice double layout to end that routine. And that was Elizabeth DeBarbery on bars for Maryland. And Elizabeth has been coming back, had a little bit of an ankle injury at the beginning of the season, just had an awkward landing on vault, so she is going to be on bars and beam tonight. They're working her back on vault.
So Sage Kellerman now for the Spartans, the fourth up in its lineup.
She, once again, stuck that just like she did last week. That front pike half, so difficult. We'll take a look on entry. So as opposed to the round-off entry, she goes straight onto the springboard, gets that block, nice legs together position. The only area for improvement, I think, some short, a little bit of a low chest. Would like to see her get more distance from the table, but so pretty in the air.
It's interesting in gymnastics, we're talking about the way that Nelligan really works with athletes in the meet itself. We noticed Mike Rowe doing that too up on those uneven bars. And how valuable do you think that it is as a gymnast to be able to have that relationship with your coach and be able to be that close kind of, you know, even while you're competing essentially?
You know, it really varies from gymnast to gymnast what they need before a routine. Looking at Sierra Kondo here getting set to go. And that's really, it is really important to sort of tailor that to the athlete. I know that's something that both of these coaches spoke to me about and really creating collaborative training plans with athletes.
See what Nelligan told Sierra Kondo before she goes up on the vault here.
On bars, but yeah.
Yeah.
And gearing up here for her Jaeger release move. So pretty, really nice amplitude on that little leg separation in her transition to low bar. Body position on the air, in the air, excuse me, on that double layout. And yet, again, just a little leg separation in that transition, but that was really the only area for deduction. Little leg separation, as I see that in replay on that double layout, but really strong routine for Maryland.
So back to the vault with Michigan State and Nikki Smith.
Oh, and didn't quite stick it like she did last week. You know, she's so powerful in the air, and you can really see that, as I mentioned, with her and her sister, just the power. That's the kind of height and distance that we are looking for. I think maybe just opened up a little early for that landing, but really nice vault in the air.
So back to the Terrapins. There is Aleka Chiknius right there.
And just like, looks like a little scoring delay here. And as I mentioned, you know, Brett's such a technician. He really is giving them some final cues just to keep in mind. And, you know, said that they came off, they had a nice long break. They competed last weekend, they competed on Friday. So he said it was really nice for them to have a couple rest days, and they had a couple routine days. They could kind of taper off coming into this meet.
So Emma Silberman up now.
And the lone all-arounder for Maryland does that Ginger. Shy on that handstand, but nice handstand on that bail. And, you know, the deductions on these handstands are proportionate to how short they are of the handstand. Double layout, nice mechanics in that double layout, really pretty Ginger there as well.
So we go to the vault, Gabby Stephen. Spartans will have an exhibition, and Katie Sawyer after. Gabby Stephen goes as well.
And doing that full twist in Yurchenko. Man, she can really put that one into the rafters. Again, just didn't quite get the sticks. They were not, overall, this rotation was not as crisp on the landings as I saw from them last week at when they were at home. But again, you know, just I think maybe she was just opening up a little soon for that, because she got a nice block off the table.
Definitely looked to get some height there.
Yes. On
that jump, vault.
Yeah, you know, she's just really powerful, and yeah, they have the dynamics in the air were lovely, just didn't quite get as many hard sticks as they did last week. And that was really the difference last week between them and Michigan, was just their landings were a lot crisper, both on vault and on other places. They had a stronger beam rotation as well.
So that brings us here to Aleka Chiknius on the bars. Has a career-high 9.925, the senior Spartanburg, Virginia native.
And the highlight of her routine to me comes right off the top here. She has this huge straddle Jaeger. Oh, and was a little bit crooked from my eye line, but held on to it. Nice bail to handstand there. Gearing up for that dismount. And yet didn't quite get that stick, but really pretty qualities on the bars from her. Some pike down there in that second flip as well.
And there's Katie Sawyer on the exhibition for Michigan State.
Yeah, and going for one of those full twisting Yurchenkos, just didn't, well, I take another look at that on replay. Yeah, you can see she didn't get the lift off the table that some of her teammates earlier, Nikki and Naya, did, and so that's what caused her not to quite be able to get that around.
That's why they do them. Get the reps, especially the younger gymnasts. You know, maybe they're not competing in meets as much, especially on a good team like Michigan State.
Exactly. Yeah. So that does not count, as we said at the top of the broadcast, towards the team total. Out of that team total, you got the 6 up 5 count. So just needs to work a little bit and getting block off the table. But overall, though, it's hard to match your program record. You're not going to be able to do your program record every single week, but strong rotation for Michigan State.
So that'll bring up Tasha Brzezowski in an exhibition for the Terrapins. Brzezowski, the sophomore from Angier, North Carolina.
And does another one of those straddled Jaegers. Nicely done. Getting ready for her dismount here. Doing that double layout. Nice double layout. Just a couple of form things in the air, some leg separations and a borderline handstand, but nice routine overall for her. Definitely nice for Coach Brett Nelligan to see he's got some depth options on this event. And when I talked to Brett Nelligan about bars specifically, he is the coach responsible for bars on the coaching staff. He really prided himself on the number of single bar releases they have. That is not a requirement in NCAA, but certainly really difficult. And both Mike Rowe and Brett Nelligan talked about the fact that they liked to push the level of difficulty above and beyond what they needed for a 10. And I love to see that in college gymnastics. I think it's really important to moving the sport forward.
So taking a look at the scores for the Spartans, they total of 49.075 on the vault.
Yeah, last week they had a 49.4. So as I mentioned, that just didn't get into that range. Some because you saw the Sage Kellerman really nice vault there in the middle that I'd highlighted at the top. But besides that, weren't a lot of those really crisp landings. And we're gonna have a look here at that. Again, so cool. Not very many athletes are doing this in NCAA. Look how she keeps her legs together throughout that. Just needs to get a little bit more distance, but gorgeous vault.
So that takes us to the next rotation. And I want to ask you also, so you see these athletes practicing constantly. You see them running down the vault sometimes probably 4 or 5 times before right before they actually do it. How much more pressure do you think there is, even if it's an exhibition, but it's the one that counts?
Oh, I mean, so much more. Gymnastics is, it is compared to other sports that have a longer play time, for example, basketball or soccer, you're condensed into this very short period of maximum 90 seconds for a routine. So, these athletes are they're really working on just making sure they've got their muscle memory in. That's what every athlete tells you is they just want to do what they do in practice. So that's kind of what they're doing. They're doing their final cues. These athletes came in, they warmed up while we were here getting set up for the meet. Now they're just doing what we call touch. They're kind of just making sure any problem areas or anything that they specifically need before the meet. But absolutely, even an exhibition, especially you're here in front of a big crowd, and it's always a lot of pressure.
Two Terps earned a 9.9 that last rotation. Let's take another look at them. Here on the bars for the Terrapins, both Sierra Kondo and Aleka Chiknius.
And yeah, just seeing that double layout from Chiknius, really pretty in the air. Really locked out that last handstand. Just that little hop. Again, a place where they could, pick up a half a tenth here or there, but they're going to be really happy with that rotation.
Dempsey, because he is very good looking and he's also just a great actor.
So on the beam for the Terps, Elizabeth DeBarbery will get things started with Joe Kogler rounding it out.
And, DeBarberry, as I mentioned, talked to Brett Nelligan in their first meet of the season, kind of tweaked her ankle on a vault, so they held her out of that meet, then brought her back last week on bars. She has been cleared by medical staff. She's lovely to watch on this event, so exciting to see her back in the lineup. Definitely Madeline Komarovsky is a highlight of this lineup for me. She's the one, in my mind, most capable of breaking into that 9.9 range, went 9.875 last week.
What stood out to you most about her? Obviously a freshman coming in this year and already making a name for herself.
She's got really lovely qualities on beam, and one of the things that I really like is we'll see her mount. She has a unique mount. She has great attention to detail, great toe point. We see clear hair warming up. Great attention to detail, great toe point, and she's got a really nice dance connection, beat jump to sheep jump, which very few athletes can perform, and she does it so nicely.
Yeah, and as we get into these floor exercises here, the next two rotations, we'll see the Spartans first, then the Terrapins to round it out. We were talking about this on our call with Coach Nelligan about the dance backgrounds coming into play.
Absolutely. So, Michigan State, they're about to put on a show. I mean, they have some of the top floor routines in the country. Artistry in these floor routines is, in my mind, it should be a bigger part of the score. The reality of it is there's a up to 3/10 deduction that the judges can take. If I were in charge, I would make that a bigger part of the score. Technical committee, call me. But anyway, I do, but that is an element of it. These dance elements are also really important. So on floor, when you are, as I was saying, you have to put together these groups of skills. You do have to do, dance elements have to make up some of those. So those dance elements, reaching split position on those dance elements, completing the full rotation if they're doing a full turning element are really important, as well as those tumbling passes, of course. And from Michigan State, we're going to see a lot of E passes. Remember, in college gymnastics, A is the easiest, E is the most difficult, and we're going to see a lot of E passes from Michigan State. You see the Maryland gymnasts there having fun, staying loose on the sidelines.
And also, obviously, Michigan State last week, we've said it all day that whether you win or lose isn't what's most important in gymnastics. It's the score that you earn. But a week ago, Michigan State going up against the number 3 team in the country, its in-state rival, and it posted a higher score than it posted, and that score was its biggest in program history, highest in program history. How much do you think it motivates you? And even for a team like Maryland that right now, I know the score doesn't necessarily matter, but if you want to talk about the score, Maryland currently leads after 2 rotations, 98-375 to 98-325. And you see that down in the right-hand corner of your screen. How much do you think it motivates you to have a top team that you're competing against?
Oh, it's a huge motivator, and I talked to Brett Nelligan about that. Maryland upset Minnesota last season, who were much higher ranked, and to be honest, I think that they probably saw what Michigan. It's funny, Michigan State was the underdog last week. Michigan State coming in today. Now Maryland is the underdog, and so we have seen some upsets this weekend in NCAA gymnastics. We saw Arkansas upset LSU. We saw Kentucky upset Alabama. So it is possible. As I mentioned, Michigan State has not been as crisp as they could have been on their first couple events. They're coming in to a huge event here for them, which is floor, and Maryland is going to beam, which has been a solid event for them this season. They really came into their own last week, so lots of gymnastics left.
Absolutely, and it's in a different kind of rotation here with the floor and beam. Obviously, I guess kind of then before I feel like the vault and bars kind of go off each other easily. The floor takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, floor and beam, both of those routines are a little bit longer than the other two, and so it's for Maryland. They're getting to end on floor. That's always like a great feeling, especially at home. So you see, you see them gearing up there, and getting this rotation can be really beautiful for Maryland. So really just need some little bit more attention to Some details like half-tenths that they could pick up. I talked to Brett Nelligan about that, but had a really strong showing last week.
So that brings us to the beam where Elizabeth DeBarbery will get the Terrapins started.
And Erin Dooley, you saw there in the screen, she is the assistant coach here at Maryland and was a national team member, All-American at the University of Florida, does a really nice job with their beam work. And one of the things when I talked to her that she said she was proud of is the diversity that she has within this lineup in their skills. In some of their series, you're going to see that right here. That full turn, one of those required elements on beam. Nice back handspring layout step out, and I think she was a little bit off on that layout step out, but handled it like a pro. And that's one of those areas where she builds her bonus by connecting those dance elements. Little hesitation, that cat leap into that front aerial. It'll be interesting to see what the judges do with that, because if they determine she did not connect it, that will affect her start value. I think they'll probably give it to her and just take an execution deduction. Wow, nice dismount. You know, she's coming back from that tweaked ankle. Some little hesitations here and there, but nice start. And this was really nice. 1.5. Hangs on to that stick.
So that takes us to the floor here with Michigan State getting it going. It'll be Nia Smith up first.
And this huge front through, double back, and does go out there. I saw the judge raise their hand, so that is a 1/10 deduction. Great control of that middle pass. Double pike. Nice job there. You know, it's a good problem to have too much power. You know, did go out of bounds, as I mentioned. That will be a 1/10 deduction. But she's so fun to watch. Just one of those athletes that I was mentioning, great artistic quality. And here's that first pass, the front through to the double back. And yeah, you can see just goes over there. You see that hand raise.
See the power she had when she was on the vault and bringing it here on the floor.
Yeah, and just manages to hold on to that double pike.
So for the Terps, on the beam, it's Emma Silberman.
And does that triple series, back handspring, layout, step out. So she gets additional bonus for that compared to the back handspring, layout, step out. Back handspring layout step out gets you 1/10 of bonus compared to 3/10 when you do the triple series. A nice stretch in that switch split to straddle quarter. Wow. Leaves no doubt about that dismount. That was so pretty. And here's that triple series that I was mentioning. Back handspring, layout, step out. So secure in that landing. And here's that dismount. 1.5. She just knew exactly where she was in the air. You're seeing more of those round off dismounts on beam. Because of the rule change, you are no longer allowed to dismount with a B element. So a lot of athletes were doing the aerial into the full twist. You cannot do that anymore. The round off entry is now becoming more popular.
So here's Gianna Khalifi, the only Californian on the Michigan State Spartans.
And she has one of those E-level tumbling passes, the front double full that we're going to see off the top here. And, you know, it's more common to see the double layouts or full twisting double backs, but I really love the front double full, so it's fun to see that variety in the lineup. Nice job there. Doesn't even need that front handspring. And you know, that I believe was an error. I believe she was hoping to do a layout step out of that last pass. This pass was great though. Front double full, controls that nicely. And yeah, she does the 1.5. Believe she was trying to connect that to a layout step out. So that will affect her start value.
So here on the beam, it's Reese McClure.
Pretty aerial, maybe just a little bit slow in that connection to the back handspring, but she kept it moving. I really like her toe point and extension in her dance elements. Cat leap, tricky combination, that cat leap, front toss, beat jump. I'd like to see a little bit more precise position in that cat leap. And see the legs turned out a little bit more. But that is so cool. I mean, she does that. That's very unusual to see that gainer 1.5 off the beam. And you can see that connection. Nice, she connected those no problem. Just that positionality in the cat leap. And here's that unique 1.5 twist. I really love that. You know, didn't quite stick the landing, but nice job.
So that takes us here, Delaney Harkness going up on the floor. She has a career high of a 9.925 there. One of the Spartans' top competitors here.
Well, and this is an important routine to kind of turn their momentum around here. Wow. Huge full twisting double back. That's one of those E passes. Front through, double back. Great routine.
Next up on beam for Maryland, Victoria Gatzendorfer.
And that was so important, again, as I said, to kind of get their momentum. She's got some really difficult gymnastics here. You see that full twisting double back, so secure in that landing. Again, the landing on floor, they are allowed to take controlled lunges. As you see here, that front through to the double back. But, you know, and that was both of those were nice controlled lunges.
On the beam now for Maryland is Victoria Gatzendorfer.
Oh, and does a little choreography there to cover that balance check. Does that tricky ring jump, and it's really hard to get the head all the way back and to achieve that ring position. Probably could have seen a little bit more neck release, but I love seeing her going for that, and I love this down on the beam choreography as well. And that gainer pike, you know, I still think that she has not reached her maximum scoring potential. Just a couple of areas, including this, again, several of these Maryland athletes going for this back handspring layout, step out, and she fought on that because she was pretty far off, but as you can see, just kind of kept working through it, which is so important. This, yeah, that, and then did the gainer pike, maybe just a teeny tiny bit of movement, but, you know, good fight.
So down to Gabby Stephen.
And there's another one of those athletes doing the front through to double pike. It is a requirement to have a pass with at least 2 different saltos or flips in it. Ending with this really difficult front double full. Wow, so well controlled. she's one of those athletes doing that two-pass routine. Some controversy in NCAA gymnastics about whether two-pass routine should be allowed as compared to three. Personally, when an athlete has an E-pass like this, like a front double full, I mean, she did a front double full, punch front to double pike. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great to see that level of difficulty.
So here on the beam, it is Maddie Komarovsky.
And this is the athlete I was talking about. Pay attention to her toe point throughout this routine. That one-arm back handspring layout step out, so difficult. That one-arm back handspring is a C as compared to the two-arm back handspring, which is a B, so she gets some extra bonus points there. And even there, it was just a little bit off in the aerial, but covered it like a pro. The stretch here is exquisite. And here's that combination I mentioned, the beat jump. Let's see if she can get the head release. Really nice in that sheep jump. Again, kind of the same concept as that ring position. Getting your head back. And you can see the way she works beam on releve as well. Let's see if she can stick this dismount. Did not quite get the stick, but just lovely qualities on beam. And here's that one-armed back handspring layout step out, so solid. And yet just her shoulders were a bit too far forward on that, had to take that hop forward, so that'll be a 10th.
So Nikki Smith up here.
Another one of those athletes opening with the E. Doing this huge full twisting double back. Great control. And I mean, if you don't have fun watching that floor routine, I mean, she is such an expert performer. I love to see that. Just a freshman, of course, has those huge tumbling. Looking at her, that full twisting double back, just a tiny slide of that front foot, but massive gymnastics. And she was just a little bit shy on that double back, but she covered it well.
So rounding it out, Josephine Kogler. Maryland will have an exhibition with Alexis Rubio afterward.
Oh, and good fight there to stay on the beam. You know, she was pretty far off. I love that front walkover. Again, this is what Coach Dooley was talking to me about, these different elements. I enjoy seeing that variety in NCAA. And one thing throughout this lineup, I would like to see these gymnasts land their full pirouettes on releve. Sticks that dismount though, good for her, because she was off on that opening acrobatic series, but really handled the rest of the routine nicely. Yeah, here, wow, I don't know how she saved that one, but was really fighting for that. And this is that front walkover. Again, just something different that you don't often see, those forward elements, so really cool. And then this is that gainer, full, really nice control on the landing.
Skyla Schulte, the final gymnast in the lineup on the floor for Michigan State. Sage Kellerman will do an exhibition after.
And another one of those athletes like Nikki Smith that's going to open with a huge full twisting double back. Walk in the park. And what a way to end their scored rotation. Just really, just a great combination of that huge tumbling, nice dance, and artistic expression performance. You see that double back, that controlled lunge did not lift that front foot. Really important to minimize those deductions.
So here on the exhibition for Maryland, it's Alexis Rubio taking a turn on the beam.
Such a cool acrobatic series there, the front tuck to the back handspring. That acrobatic series a requirement on beam, but of course gymnasts can fulfill it in different ways, as we have seen throughout this lineup. Nice to see her hang on to that combination. She fell on that last week. On that dismount, but that's going to be a huge confidence booster for her. You know, again, as I mentioned, having the fall last week.
Take another look here.
And she does that cartwheel into the 1.5 twist. And again, tricky to land those forward-facing landings.
And here is Sage Kellerman with an exhibition on the floor.
Twisting, some error in the twisting form, but gets it around. Short on that double pike, has to take that step forward. Gearing up for her final pass here. you know, just some endurance issues on those final 2 passes. The control lunge that we talk about, the step should be in the direction that the tumbling pass is moving. So if it's a backward pass, you can take a control step back. Forward pass, you can take a step forward. But you'll see what I'm talking about here. I believe we're seeing the double pike here. Yeah, double pike. You can see how her chest is forward there. She takes that step forward. But, you know, nice fight throughout that routine.
So let's take a look at how we're looking now through those 3 rotations on the floor for Michigan State. It totals a 49-3.
And, you know, I have to give Michigan State a lot of credit here because in those first couple routines did not quite go to plan. Not falls, but certainly not those scores those athletes are capable of. Starting with Delaney Harkness, talked about how important that was for momentum, and boy, did they turn it on at the end of that lineup.
And as for the Terps on the beam, that time they, and you know, still very close between the 2 teams right now. As for Michigan State, one of its gymnasts on the floor here, a 9'9", Nikki Smith.
I mean, look at her. The rise that she gets through these elements is so exquisite, and I love, you often don't see freshmen this comfortable performing in front of a big crowd, no problem with her. So like I said, I just think she's really the complete package on floor. And taking a look here at that double back, and this is where, let's take a look. Yeah, she was just a little shy, but covers it so well to really minimize that deduction.
And we'll take a look at the Terps.
And, you know, for Maryland, this was a solid performance. I think that, you know, there were some errors on some of the landing and a couple of the dance elements that I pointed out throughout the routine. You know, Madeline Komorowski in that 5 spot, really beautiful beam worker, did not quite stick that landing. So, you know, this is an area where this is a great building block because you see there were hits throughout the lineup, but areas to grow and improve. And Emma Silverman just having such a huge impact on this Maryland team, the lone all-arounder.
Take another look at her dismount from the beat.
And I think we're taking a look at her series, actually, that back handspring, layout, step out, but that was so solid.
There's the dismount.
There we go. And, you know, you can tell when an athlete is trying to sell a stick that wasn't totally there. That was a true stick. She had no problem, just drilled it.
So Michigan State is going to be going to the beam in the final rotation. The Terps getting ready on the floor. Through those 3 rotations, I know we talked about the records, the score, but look at that. Look at how close these 2 teams are right now.
I mean, this is really exciting because only a 2/10 difference moving into this final rotation. Floor is a strong rotation for Maryland, so I'd still say advantages to Michigan State. They are ranked 11th in the country on beam, but, you know, anything can happen, and it's going to be an exciting last rotation.
Absolutely. If how it's been going has told us anything. But it's interesting to see when we were talking about the way the Big Ten is really starting to emerge as that top conference in this sport, how the teams bring each other up.
Absolutely, and I think it's really great. You know, we talked at the top of the broadcast, you look at the rankings of these teams. You've got Michigan currently ranked number 3, Ohio State having a phenomenal season, currently ranked 11th, just ahead of Michigan State in 12th. Then you've got Iowa, also are one of those teams that are really on the precipice, of course, you know, having Minnesota and all of these other teams that are really, and Rutgers, by the way, are having a great season themselves, really trying to position themselves for a regional berth. So it's, and that's one of the things both of these coaches told me is they really are, they believe in the conference. They want the conference to succeed. All the coaching staff is really close with each other and wants to see Big Ten. In my opinion, they're sort of the up-and-coming conference. UCLA joining next season, and they are having a great season after a couple of rough seasons themselves.
So, taking a look at the Terrapins' order on the floor.
And floor for Maryland, it's been a solid event. I think, they have some of those dance elements that need just a little bit of work. That have been areas of deduction that I think oftentimes go overlooked, but they have really nice tumbling. And when I talked to Coach Bracknell again, he did say there's a lot of work in the gym going on those dance lead passes. Crowd having fun here.
Very good energy in the crowd, like we've been talking about on this Sunday afternoon, the home opener. Lots of kids and families getting out to the Xfinity Center.
Absolutely.
Now we're headed to the floor exercise, the grand finale. Floor teams combine strength and power.
And if you look at these two teams, what they've done, what they did last week on beam, Michigan State went 49-275. Maryland went 49 flat. So again, like I said, just based on statistics, you got to give Michigan State the edge coming into this final rotation. However, I also think that the energy around performing in front of your home crowd on floor, that is an advantage. So I'm super excited for this rotation.
Absolutely. I mean, we always see Maryland get fired up for the floor, especially here at home, and especially it's the home opener, like I was saying. They haven't competed here at Xfinity Center since last year. They've competed a few times, but not here, and not getting to end a meet on the floor in front of Terp Nation.
Absolutely. And so that's what, and I think that these, Michigan State, on the other hand, had a really strong beam rotation last week. But it is challenging to end on beam. I think it's great that, as we talked about, the back half of that Michigan State lineup really delivered. So they've got some nice momentum moving into this rotation on a night that hasn't been their best. And of course, that's still relative, right? They're still a great team, but has not been as crisp as we saw from them against Michigan.
But still, that roughly somewhat off night is still better than 95% of teams.
Well, and the thing about it is turning that momentum around is so important in gymnastics, and we've seen that from them a couple of times. I like the fight that I see in them. Remember, as we're moving into national qualifying, how you qualify to the postseason, the regional championships, you count 6 meets. You take your 3 highest road scores, then your next 3 highest scores home or away. So you have to count 3 road scores. And so it's important for Michigan State it's great to see that grit, that fight from them, even if it's not their best night, try and get a road score that you could count.
So back to the beam where Gianna Khalifi will start it off.
And I love her mount. Don't often see that handstand to roll. And there's one of those triple series that we saw from several of the Michigan gymnasts, really secure in that landing. Nice work through that series, got that tuck pull all the way around. A nice stick on that gainer full. Taking a look at that triple series. You know, in replay, I see a little flexed feet, but the judges probably won't catch that. Really secure in her landing, though. And here's that dismount. Maybe just a little chest forward, but nice landing.
Here's Taylor Reck, the freshman from Maryland, who also led off on vault.
Doing that front double full crossover step there, so that'll be a deduction. Great control in that 1.5 to front layout. Nice start. You know, I had a little bit of, on that landing of that front double full, had that crossover step that will be a little deduction. I think we're taking a look at that here. She does that punch, maybe just doesn't quite get the set, has to take that sideways step. And here's that 1.5 to front layout.
So Olivia Zarmani now on the beam for the Spartans.
And I love this skill. Check this out. Unique series there. That front toss to the back handspring. Oh no, just a little error there, little loss of balance. Working through it though. Good for her on that dismount, you know, had some balance errors throughout, but really fought through that dismount. There's that front toss to the back handspring. See, a lot of gymnasts land with their chest low on that front toss, not her.
So here's Rhea LeBlanc.
Really nice dismount. Another one of those front double fulls. Got it all the way around, but not a controlled lunge there. Wow, I did not think she was gonna get that front tuck around. Really fought through there. Nice Rudy there to close. You know, nice final pass. That middle pass, she was intending to do 1.5 front layout, had to tuck it. Probably just didn't feel like she had the rotation. This is where I'm talking about, yeah, really strong of her to get that tuck around, but that will affect her start value.
So Skyla Schulte on the beam for Michigan State.
And showing off her flexibility in that mount. Goes to that difficult switch half. Nice job getting it around. And yeah, you can just see what I'm talking about with the flexibility. Really nice to see her incorporating that into this routine. And just uses her core to really anchor herself on that back handspring layout step out. Had her shoulders right where she needed to be. Oh, you know, I thought she was going to break that connection going into the dismount. She was a little bit off on the switch split, but handled it no problem. And here's that difficult leap series I was talking about. Let's take another look. Switch half, really good connection into that beat jump. And this is where I thought, yeah, she was a little off, but nice fight to keep that going, because if she had broken that connection, it would have affected her start value.
Taylor Osterhout now for the Terrapins. Will take her turn on the floor.
And this is an important routine for Maryland to get them back on track. And let's keep an eye on this first pass. She went out of bounds last week. A little front foot movement, but keeps it in bounds. Didn't quite hit that 180 degree in that second split element. And just a little shy on that double pike, but handled it well. You know, when gymnasts are short on those tumbling passes, they really have to react in real time in order to minimize the deduction. Let's take another look here. Here's that double pike. Pretty nice position in the air, but yeah, just took that hop forward, but that could have been several steps, and so she fought through there.
Nikki Smith here on the beam.
Oh, and leg up check there on that back handspring layout step out. Should be 2/10. You know, so powerful in her leap work. And get ready, because this is probably the most difficult dismount being done in college gymnastics. Double back, Little step. Love seeing her going for that difficulty. You know, did have that adversity, unfortunately, in the back handspring layout step out. But one of only a handful of athletes doing this double back, and I don't think this is rewarded enough. Yes, she takes a small step, but doing that is more difficult than sticking a back double full, and I think that NCAA rules need to reflect that. I talked to Mike Rowe about that because she and her sister both performed that double back, if they consider taking them back to a different dismount, and he said, you know, they've been doing that since level 10. They really like doing it. They don't want to water down, and so we don't want them to either. I think that is wonderful.
Yeah. Emma Silverman. See what she's got here on the floor.
That 1.5 to Brianni, so cool. Double full, so difficult to do in that last pass. Lovely routine.
Next overhead for Michigan State, Gabby Stevens.
And you know, a 9.85 coming in for Nikki Smith. As we take a look here at that 1.5 twist, unusual to see that Brianni, and connects it to the straddle jump. You can see she was happy about that one. But 9.85 coming in for Nikki Smith. You know, here's that front double full as well. Sorry about that. And nice control on that landing. I think 9.85, I'm a big fan of Nikki Smith's gymnastics. 9.85 is too high for me with that leg up check.
You
so
think?
I think the judges got that one wrong. I'd probably have it 9.75, maybe 9.7. But here we are anyway. Gabby Stevens here for Michigan State. Huge air time on that back handspring layout step out. I love that she really goes for the height on her dance elements. Chest forward there, but hangs on to that landing on that double full.
Next up on the floor for Maryland, Alexa.
And here's that double twisting dismount. This is one of the dismounts that got upgraded. Used to be a C, is now a D. But as you can see, her chest is just too far forward on landing, so she does hang on to the stick, but that should be a deduction.
Alexa Rothenbuscher here on the floor for the Terps, the 5th out of the 6th in the lineup.
Whip to double back, nice control there. Covered that short landing on the double pike. Just short on that double pike, but like I said, did a good job of minimizing that landing.
Bailey Garcia here on the beam.
Really nice back handspring layout step out. Front aerial. Little slow in that connection, but I think she keeps it moving enough that the judges will give that to her. Nice stretch there through that switch split to split jump. Just a little arm correction there in balance. Oh, and just tries to hang on. You know, I think she would have been better off taking a small step because she probably incurred a little bit more deduction for that chest position fighting for that stick. Pretty qualities on the beam, though. Really nice toe point and extension through her leaps. Here's that dismount, and yeah, she's just fighting for the stick, but then has to kind of bend her chest forward.
So on the floor, it is Reese McClure time for the Terps.
And she has a theme every year for her floor routine. This year is disco, in case you can tell. Really nice control there. Just really nice control of all of her tumbling passes. Probably the best overall control, I would say, there. And just some napkin math. Michigan State unofficially, I believe, has mathematically clinched this regardless of this score. Still, though, Maryland going to get their season high score here.
Yeah, here on the beam, it's an exhibition. Tori Loomis for Michigan State. She's a senior Texas native.
And that unusual aerial to pike jump, I like that connection. Good correction there on that back handspring layout step out. you know, had a couple of balance checks in there, but overall nice routine. Ended that with a really strong dismount.
So now, through 4 rotations, the Spartans do hold a narrow lead over the Terrapins, but like you said, a season high for the Terps, and just an all-around great performance by 2 strong teams.
Absolutely, and moving into Maddie Komorowski here in the exhibition spot on floor. Pretty twisting form there. That tricky switch ring full. And that is a routine that I think could make its way into the lineup. Again, just did that really tricky switch ring leap that she had a little bit of trouble with, but some work in the gym, and that's a really solid routine option, nice twisting form.
So taking a look at the Spartans' scores on the beam, they total a 49.325.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta say, I think there were some really nice routines in here. I think that the scoring on beam here was a little high. I would have had them a little bit lower there, but really good for them. That momentum coming off of floor, going to beam, ending there, and they really fought through.
And then on the floor, the Terps, Reese McClure, a 9.9 to lead the way.
And, you know, really nice to see. I think she's one of those athletes, again, that has that full package of the artistry, the dance, the tumbling. And so, although I think we're showing here a 9.825 on floor for Reese McClure, but, you know, nice job for Maryland. They had a couple of landing issues throughout the rotation, but, you know, so couldn't quite pull off that upset over Michigan State, but first time for them breaking 196 this season. That's a big number. As we talk about regional qualifying scores, the last few years, those regional qualifying scores have been at or above 196, so that's really where you want to see those teams pacing as you move mid and postseason.
Best performance of the season for the Terrapins, a strong performance from Michigan State. 2 of the best in the Big Ten. Exactly what we've been saying all day about how the level of the Big Ten Conference continues to grow here in gymnastics. A lot more ahead from College Park, the awards ceremony coming up. You are watching Gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. great performance of gymnastics between the Maryland Terrapins and the Michigan State Spartans. The Spartans come out on top, but a great showcase of gymnastics here, Christina.
Absolutely. You know, I think that what we saw from Michigan State, you know, difficult for them coming off that momentum of that huge win at Michigan, not quite as crisp as we saw them last week. But what I liked was I saw that fight, that grit. They still came out with a 196.95, very usable road score in as they move into building their national qualifying score.
Let's listen in here at this as we get the award ceremony going.
Our top finishers on the uneven bars with scores of 9.9 from Michigan State, Delaney Harkness.
And Delaney Harkness, such a pretty bar worker, well rewarded there. Aleka Chignius as well.
Our top scorer on the balance beam with a score of 9.9 from Michigan State, Skyla Schulte.
And she's just such a beautiful beam worker. Really, as I mentioned, loved her toe point and extension throughout her routine.
Nikki Smith from Michigan State.
And yeah, Nikki Smith, so powerful on that full in, especially one of the best full ins in the country, certainly.
39.325 from Michigan State, Gabby Stephen, and from Maryland, Emma Silverman. Finishing in second place today with an all-around score of 39.35 from Michigan State, Nikki Smith. And today's all-around champion finishing with a score of 39.45 from Michigan State, Skyla Schulte.
And what a day Skyla Schulte has had. You know, she is really such a just such a force on this Michigan State team. She and Nikki Smith, obviously, such a great 1-2 punch there from Michigan State.
425, your Maryland Terrapins.
And, you know, you look at Maryland's performance here, you know, that is their previous, they've had 2 meets so far, both in the 195s. 195, 875 they got last week, so big improvement for them. That's going to be a huge confidence boost.
Absolutely, as the Maryland Terrapins, as strong of a performance as they put up all season, and confidence booster, like you said. They got to see a team that really is a legitimate top team, and they performed almost at their level today.
And that's what's exciting. There is so much parity in NCAA gymnastics right now, and that is great to see these teams pushing each other.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this edition of Gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. For our entire crew, for our producers, Thomas Mason and Jackie O'Mara, for my partner, Christina Chauvenet, great to have you here in College Park this season, Christina. I'm Shane Connick, saying so long from the Xfinity Center, the Terrapins and Spartans.
Xfinity Center.